Okay, we're live, and this is going to be an interesting experiment because I just updated my setup. It's been a long time since I've done live streaming. Let me see if I can raise that a little bit. And I'm drawing, and there's not really much to show. So, um, who am I? I'm Joshua Kemble. I'm a cartoonist. I've been an art director for a number of years and a professional graphic designer, freelance illustrator for over 15 years now. When I'm not doing that, do things like this: my graphic novel, Two Stories, which is my comic about faith and mental illness. Uh, and let's see here. It's a professional graphic memoir that grapples with questions of faith, mental illness, depravity, and ultimately redemption in a fallen world. And it's like 120 pages. And I'm trying out a new setup here. So technically, my computer's there, my art table's here. And then what's rad is, dude, we got Ronnie Gunter joining in the chats. How's it going? That's awesome. Okay. And then I have like a little setup here where I can read the chats. So we'll see. And then Jake, dude, I haven't talked to you in a while, man. How are you doing? Um, dude, Jake has launched his own comic, which is pretty cool. Jake, why don't you throw up like just in the chats a link to your comic? I'm gonna get it wrong. I think it was called like Bone Meal. It's really cool. But anyhow, go ahead and throw up like a link or something, man. Um, And then Jake was saying nice renovations in your house. Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, we had to redo our flooring, and it's just been super crazy. And so, yeah, I mean, who knows? But my goal tonight is to get one panel penciled. I can't show much of what I'm working on, but I can show you this, which is this is that second panel. This is the one I'm working on penciling. Let's see here. Bone Meal will drop November 1st. Will drop November 1st, according to Jake. And Adam's here. How's it going, Adam? Adam, dude, how do we get a hold of your comic too? Throw a link in the chats, man. Because I saw that you had printed it, and I'm not sure where you're selling it. And I actually would love to read it too. I think I've seen quite a few pages, but it'd be fun to like actually pick up a copy. So throw in the link. How are you guys doing tonight? And then Adam said, "Studio's looking nice. Thanks. It's kind of been a crazy weekend. Just setting up the studio space, trying to kind of get everything righted after like ripping out our entire flooring. So anyhow, my goal tonight is to get back in the flow of cartooning, and then also hopefully have like a little bit of a comfortable setup to do more live streams again. And hopefully like I have a little bit better of lighting. I mean, it's not the greatest, but at least it'll sort of light the room when I'm doing dark streams. And it's kind of got this fun byproduct of looking like the Blair Witch Project or something. And then Jake was saying you can read the first 4 strips of Bone Meal in print through the new 9-volt horror anthology on Lulu, which is cool. And then Adam was having trouble with the print on demand service, so Toad Road Comics #1 is not available to order yet. Okay, that makes a little more sense, because I was like, I feel like if that was put up for sale, I probably would have picked up a copy. And then Adam also said, I'll let everybody know when it finally processes. Yeah, dude, that sounds cool. Yeah, so like I'm pretty excited to get back to pages, because it feels like it's been I don't know, like a week or so, almost, well, probably like about half a week. But for me, that's a long time to not be working on comics. And it's just like, it's incredibly nice to be able to like get back, sit down, have the studio space set up, have our house like kind of back in order. My wife kind of messed up her back like about a week ago, and so like, well, it was a little over a week ago now, but anyhow, it was like chaos just trying to kind of get everything kind of working out and back to normal. So it's kind of nice to be able to get this setup going again, and hopefully I don't know, at some point I'm going to rig up a process where I can like draw and have like the stream kind of showing a bunch of stuff, but for now we're just kind of working with what we got. How are you guys doing tonight? What are you all working on? Let's see here. So he's supposed to be kind of mad, drawing this figure, and he's supposed to be somewhat angry. I'm also fighting like mad allergies in the Antelope Valley. Whew. Oh, sweet. Ronnie said next week it looks like a great group for the Halloween stream. Dude, I need to get back on that and check. I saw that you had messaged something about it, and I need to look at it because I've been, like the last like 5 days have just been like chaos, man. Like, and not like bad chaos, like, you know, people in life have different struggles and stuff, but it's been rough trying to kind of sit down and like get pages. I had like contact from a publisher that I hadn't responded to in a little bit. Just like, yeah, it's been nuts. So anyhow, I'm hoping to kind of get back on that. And then Jake said he's idling now before a meeting. What kind of meeting? Is it something you can talk about? And then also where and what's your social security? I'm just kidding. No, Jake, I'm just kind of curious, like an art meeting, job meeting. And then let's see. Anyhow, I'm excited about that. Like Ronnie's planning. I do remember Ronnie's planning on having a Halloween stream. I need to double check what day it's on because I definitely want to show up to it. Nice. Jake was saying he can't disclose the meeting location, so that's good to know. But yeah, I kind of feel like, let's see. So Ronnie's stream should be really cool, though, is all I'm saying. Because Ronnie was planning on doing like a live Halloween stream. So I have a question for you, Ronnie, because like you were talking about everybody kind of drawing their favorite Universal monster or something, and I hope that's not blowing anything. If I wouldn't have time to draw that like before, is everybody just drawing theirs on the stream? That would be the one catch, is I might actually have to be working on my comics. But if I can just kind of hang out and chat and hang with you dudes, I'd be stoked, especially if I can work on my stuff. So you'll have to let me know. But oh, that's cool that Gaz will be on too. Sounds like Gaz, Gary, Jason, yeah, and Scott. Like that sounds like a good group. October 28th, which is Thursday, and then at 9:30 p.m. but not Pacific, right? Because I think that would be basically like right before Artcasters. That might be doable. I got to look into it. The only thing that sucks for me is like one of the reasons I do these streams like so late at night is because like my son goes to bed at like 8:30ish, and so until he's asleep, I literally can't work on anything. So we'll see. I don't know. Anyhow, I want to make it, so I'll give it a shot. Let's see here. And then Jake was saying he can't disclose the meeting. That's good. Well, I hope it's not a crazy one, man. Let's see. Ronnie was saying it's cool if I don't do the drawing. That's awesome. I'm gonna try, man, because like Halloween stuff's fun, and I feel like this year in particular, I've lost touch with some of the fun of Halloween kind of events and stuff because, I mean, well, it's just been a very busy few days. But like, I really dig like doing Halloween and like holidays in general. So like, and Halloween is like the funnest of all the holidays. So yeah, hanging out, doing that sounds fun. Regardless, I'm gonna watch it. So, but I should be able to do it. And let's see here. So right now I'm like working on panel 2 of page something. And I can't I've lost touch. Like how I kind of keep track of my page count is like I'll post on Instagram like my progress, and then on Instagram I also track the page numbers. And so it has this like added byproduct of like provides a little bit of social media content, but also helps me keep on track with like what page. Episode 3 is almost done. Oh, sweet. Ronnie's got a why don't you throw up your link, man? Just in the chats, just for everybody to kind of check out your horror comic, especially given that it's October. He does a really cool comic that has kind of like comets and cults and craziness, and it's kind of fun. It's like super horrific and a lot of fun. But like definitely not all ages, which is cool because I think most people who like follow my stuff are not strictly all ages people, you know. Let's see. Jake was saying, I can't wait for November, just a crazy month ahead that I want to kick out. Crazy writing month ahead. Got it. Now it's just skeletons and buffering work. Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty eager. I have a big announcement that I can't really put out there yet. But I should have like a solid answer onto like as to when I can publicly talk about it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about being able to kind of drop that news as well. We have Brianna K. Welder. How's it going, Brianna? How you doing? What are you working on? Are you an artist? Did you stumble across this channel? Like, let us know a little bit about yourself. I'm just up late drawing. I hope you guys are all rocking, being productive, having some cool like drawing time. Let's see here. Nanowrimo participator. So Nanowrimo, this is terrible that I don't remember, but Nanowrimo's for writers, right? It's like you're supposed to write a novel in a month or a first draft of a novel. What are the because I have a lot of friends who are like writers and they'll do Nanowrimo. And I always forget what it is. Not that, I mean, it sounds like a really cool challenge. I just like, I think I get so stuck in like the comic world that I can kind of lose track of like just writing in general. But it sounded like a really hefty, cool challenge. So Brianna, let us know, let me know what NaNoWriMo is. Let's see here. 50K fast so you're supposed to hit 50K words. Is it just words? Because then 50K, that's actually totally doable. Let's see here. National Novel Writing Month. Nice. And you're supposed to hit 50K words in 30 days. Okay. That's feasible. I mean, just a first draft, or let me see, oh man. See, now I'm trying to, again, I've been in comic world for a while, so I'm trying to think 50K words is roughly how many pages would you think that is? Is that a page? Not a page. 50K is I'm just trying to think how many words on average are on a page. Mama Soto joining us from Texas. How's it going, Mama Soto? How are you doing? Are you working on any cool graphic design projects? Or awesome, rad, bass lines? So that's been a fun thing. I don't know if I mentioned this. Did I mention my guitar on on a previous stream? It's been a while since I've live streamed, so I'm just gonna mention it again. So it's a nerdy thing, but I finally bit the bullet and got a Gibson SG, a legit Gibson SG, and the same thing happened to me that happens when I've at a bar tried the top shelf liquor, where you kind of want it to not be, you kind of want it to not be as good as it is, and then when you try it, you're this is better, which kind of sucks, because in my head I want people who pay for name brands and quality and stuff, because I'm somebody who grows up without a lot of money and stuff. It's I kind of want the cheaper stuff to be equal quality. And I have noticed, at least with liquor and with guitars and music, that's definitely not the case. An authentic American Gibson plays better than any Epiphone I've ever played. It's a great guitar. But there was a part of me that was a little bummed, because I wanted it to feel just so yeah. And it's interesting, because I'm more of a Fender guy myself for music, and so that was interesting too, because it's got a whole different feel. It's got a couple extra frets on the I think a standard Fender my Telly is 22 frets, and then the SG has 24 frets, so it's shorter frets, and it's interesting to get used to. Anyhow, totally rambling, and I will get back to not talking about guitars, but I will say, if you guys are ever curious, if you do play music and stuff, oh my gosh, Gibsons are really nice guitars, and really fun to play, and they have kind of at least the SG has I don't know how to explain it, but it's so I have a Fender Telly, and that has more of a kind of high-pitched rawness to it, but there's something about those double humbuckers and the sustain on a Gibson that just rocks. So anyhow, so let's see. We've got Mama Soto said liking the studio house redo, looking good. Thanks. Yeah, we're getting there. It's a lot of work to get that done, and it's funny because we use contractors, so it's like we didn't lay out the whole thing ourselves, but it's like, holy crap, like just to get the family out of the house for a while, clearing the house of furniture, like all of that was like quite a bit of work. But I can't imagine if we'd done everything without like assistance, like with like the laying tile and stuff. That would have been a nightmare. And then let's see. Oh, and then Brianna said, to answer your question, I follow you on Twitter and happened upon the tweet announcing the stream. Awesome. Well, welcome, Brianna. It's awesome to see you. Yeah, it's a crazy thing with like, okay, so Jake just laid it out. So 250 to 300 words. You have to hit like 1,666 or so per day to hit the target. That's doable. And then you have to hit 50,000. So you're like, what is that, 100 pages? That's, see, now I'm testing my bad math skills. Wow, okay. So that is pretty hefty. So you have to do like 4 or 5 pages a day. That is pretty intense. So, and then NaNoWriMo is in, I would assume, is it in October or November? I feel like it was in November, but maybe it's October. But that actually sounds like a pretty hefty challenge. At first I was like, meh. Scripting, Jake's right, because like the script format, you could have a little more more content that's not just expositional or whatever, but it's like still, yeah, that's okay. So that's a hefty, crazy challenge, but that sounds really cool. At some point, I'd like to do like just straight up, novel writing or something. Just sounds super fun. It's doable, Brianna said. Now that I've been writing as my job, but I wasn't a writer yet. It was crazy difficult. Yeah. Well, congrats on making writing your job too. It's I do get a lot quicker from doing art professionally, But it's interesting because, well, I don't know. Brianna, like I don't know if the job is from like, so if it's like writing articles and stuff like that, it's like the kind of day thing. Maybe it's kind of equivalent to what I'm doing, or maybe you're like to the point where you're like making a full living, like doing just straight up novels, which is awesome. For me, it's weird because I am a lot quicker from doing art professionally, but there is the double challenge of when you do something for a living, and you probably know this, but it's like when you do something for a living that's creative, to get off work, like you work all day doing creative stuff like drawing and designing and stuff like that, and then and a lot of the time, at least what I do, like as an art director and stuff, it's stuff for clients, and it's stuff that's like their ideas, and but you're still using a lot of the same creative muscles. And so it's like, when, for me, there's like a benefit and then a negative of doing it professionally, because it's like, before I was kind of making a living. Okay, Jake was saying November. Okay, cool. Okay, and then Jake's heading to to his meeting and stuff. Dude, good luck, Jake. Have a good one, man. I'm excited about bone meal. I think that'll be pretty fun to see the progress on and stuff. Thanks for tuning in and always supporting my streams and the channel and stuff and hanging out. So yeah, like for me, it's like a constant challenge to kind of navigate, like trying to keep the fire to like work on your own personal creative projects. And maybe Mama Soto, you might relate to this too, where it's like doing graphic design all day, and then like trying to kind of find the fuel to do like design on your own. Like, I don't know. For me, it's like that's the give and take of doing what you love as a profession, because it's like there's a part of you that like when, at least for me, there's definitely a part of me that when I get home is like not wanting to draw, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I got to work on my project. But at the same time, when you're working on other people's ideas all the time, it's really nice to work on something where it's self-authored and doesn't have to kind of cater to like a client or whatever. Anyhow, totally rambling, but yeah, that sounds like a cool challenge. I want to try that out. I'm pretty stoked about Ronnie's stream too, so I'm gonna have to write that down so I don't like miss that day, because it sounds like a super fun hangout. Doing like some Halloween stuff, and Ronnie's got a really good channel too. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Crimson Owl Comics, go subscribe on YouTube's. Let's see. Mama Soto said, so I'll admit it's gotten to the point where I don't enjoy design anymore. For others, it happens. Yeah, totally. And then been trying to make the switch to my art, to be honest. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I think it's weird because it's like I still get a kick out of like doing a really excellent job for a client, you know, and like and like there is some creative fulfillment in it. But yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. Like I think the real joy in art comes from kind of personal expression. And it's one of the few moments where like you get to just fully realize an idea, and then you're your own client, which is ideal. All right, so I'm like a little bit further on this panel, making some progress. But it does come with like a whole slew of things, right? Because when it's your own work, it's both liberating and frightening, right? Because it's like if I'm working on client work, what's constraining about it is like, you know, I have to do what the client wants, and sometimes that's really cool. Like sometimes the client wants something that ends up being cooler than what I was envisioning, you know? And then a lot of the times, not so much. But then it's been like, but then there's the liberation when you're working on your own stuff to like be able to be like, yeah, this is completely my vision, you know? And win or fail, like it's like, this is what I wanted to realize, you know? And then there's also the like total intimidation of that too, because if it doesn't work out, it's like on your own personal stuff, the only person to blame is yourself. So it's like it's a mixed bag. I guess it all is. Mama Soto said, I see you've dived into your music. How's that going? It's going pretty well. I have like a second album that I'm kind of like pushing through, and then it's like I have an album with my band No Saboteurs that's been like in the process of being mixed for like a long time, like probably too long of a time, but I'll let you guys know when that drops too. And then yeah, and then my own personal stuff has been cool, but I haven't been able to touch. I was supposed to do. I had a deal with my friend Kevin Cross that I was going to do an album, a 10-song album by the end of the year, solo album, and I think I'll be able to hit it, but I will probably, unless I record one song this month, I'm not going to hit it. So before the end of October, I should try to kind of get on there and track something. Let's see here. And then, okay, Ronnie's got to go to work. Ronnie, have a good night, and I'll see you on the 28th. Looking forward to your stream. Ronnie usually comes on here to kind of check in and hang out and stuff. So I don't know. Brianna, does that ring true to like what it's like writing professionally? I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I'm always kind of curious. It's definitely a cool way to make a living, though. Like, I feel like, being a creative is very fun. It's kind of the ultimate thing. So we've got, trying to draw like a guy sitting in a bar, and he's got, let's see here. Okay. It's a specific kind of booth that he's sitting in, and I'm trying to kind of get it going. So come hell or high water, I'm finishing this page tonight. I'm wondering how long I've been streaming. Okay, good. I have to keep an eye on that because every hour when I stream, I usually take about a 5-minute break. So Mama Soto, what kind of personal art are you working on nowadays? Like, you're talking about wanting to kind of make more of a transition to your own personal stuff. And then Brianna said, writing for a living has indeed changed the act of writing, much as you described with drawing. Yeah, it's interesting. So it's like you get way faster, you get way more proficient. It definitely teaches you professional practices. Because it's like, like on personal projects, you can take like 10 years to finish a painting, or a long time to kind of get things cranked out. You don't necessarily have to like back plan super great, super well. I shouldn't say great. But it's a weird thing because it's like it's also like you get like super good at like when you're working professionally, you get good at hitting deadlines and like kind of making compromises that are important, just to kind of be able to actually achieve and hit a deadline and get what you need to get done. And so it definitely affects the personal work too. for sure. Yeah, Brianna was saying it's no longer a fun hobby, but a fun job. The fun is still there, and some days are slow and hard. Lost the luxury of waiting for the muse to drop by. Yeah, so that's huge, and I definitely I'm a subscriber to the idea that the muse is kind of a fiction anyway. Like, I mean, there is definitely a muse, and there's like some kind of thing that inspires people to create. But I do think a lot of it has to do with doing kind of like just sitting down and doing the work. And once you start doing the work, that blank page just kind of fills up. Like Nanowrimo would be a good example. Like you do something like that, you're going to be forced. You're forcing the muse, and that's actually not a bad thing, you know. And I feel like, at least when I was a younger writer and artist, like I used to definitely believe in the idea of like a muse and heavy inspiration and stuff. And I still think you can get inspired, but I think if you wait around for inspiration, you're going to be. I think a lot of people, maybe some people, you know, I guess there's like a slew of some people who are like going to be a Jack Kerouac type who will just have their giant sheet of writing paper and just type out like the great American novel overnight on the same roll. But I think for most people, you know, like back planning, you know, story structure tricks, like they aren't even really tricks, but it's like just structuring your story, figuring out your plot points, like doing draft after draft after draft, and then like suddenly you're inspired. So Mama Soto said mixed media artist. Watercolor's a big one, sculpting, found art, but it's a hodgepodge of arts and crafts for fine arts because I want to do my music. Just been on hold too long. Yeah, it's a Mama Soto. I feel like that resonates with me a lot. Is all I'm saying, because like I don't know if I'd ever do music for like a living hardcore. I mean, it would be a fun way to make a living, but also it's a pretty rough life. The few people I've known who've like been fortunate enough to do that for like a living, like touring schedules and all of that, it just sounds like really hard to sustain. But man, just playing music is super fun, and it's good to like. I think it's good to. I think if you're a person who needs to play music, you're gonna play music, you know. But what's neat is because I took a long time away from playing, and I'm not like even that great at playing, you know. But it's something I really enjoyed and was a huge part of my identity when I was younger, and I had just kind of let it slide. And a couple years back, just was like started playing again, and it's so fun. Like I the second I was playing again, I was like, okay, I don't know how I let this pass. Like it's so good to do. Brianna said, who knew creating was a muscle that you can train? Totally. And then that's the difference, right? Before I kind of wrote a bit, when I had an idea I felt excited about, then dropped it for days and weeks. Now I sit down every day and summon the ideas on command. Yeah, exactly. And if you're having a bad day, you kind of push through it just like you would with exercise or something. And then like the weird thing is if you just kind of get your words in or your writing in for the day, it's like the next day suddenly you get over that hurdle. Also, I think doing things professionally makes you less precious. At least for me, that's what I've experienced. Where, like, I'm okay with letting something go, and then it also makes me appreciate my own personal projects a lot more. In a poetic way, when we go professional, we become the muse. Would that be right? Yeah, sure. Why not? Mama Sota said, oh yeah, I just want to finish writing, publishing it, just to get it out there. For me, no one else. But isn't that who we do most of our stuff for? Yeah, for sure. And I think just for art, like that actually is one thing I would say. It's like when I was first doing art professionally, I was like kind of snotty about it. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I just used to like kind of have this attitude about like, if you're not making a living doing it, you're not an artist. Like it's just almost like a terrible kind of thing. And then like as I started doing it more and more professionally, I started realizing like, oh, like art for art's sake is kind of where art is at, and so now I'm all about the art for art's sake stuff because I've done enough corporate stuff where I'm like, it's not art. Like I mean some of it is, but a lot of the corporate stuff I do is not. It's not like I'm not making excellent work. It's not bad work. It's cool work. It's putting something awesome out there, but it's not like the type of thing I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. So anyhow, my point is, yes, I think making art for art's sake, making art for like the expression of it, as long as you're having like a high standard for yourself, like that's kind of the way it goes and where it's at. And then you also like notice, like doing it professionally for long enough, you start meeting these like guys who work for like these huge firms and stuff, or like, and I'm sure you've had those moments. But it's like you start meeting some of your heroes and all they want to talk about is personal projects. It's like meeting novelists who want to talk about their, not like they wrote their 5 steps book that sold really well, and then they want to talk about their memoir or like their novel that's like really hard to push because that's where their heart's at and their passion's at. And so like I don't know, anyhow, that's kind of my point. How's it going, Doris Jones, Labors of Love? She said, that's been my whole art life. Still wouldn't mind getting paid for it though. No, totally. I mean, oh, and then Brianna said, I've worked for a sitcom for a bit that taught me to be very good at killing my darlings. Yeah, dude, I can't imagine. It'd be fun to like do a writer's room. I don't think I'd hold up in a writer's room. Like, cause again, like I'm an okay writer, but without the art, my writing on its own would be an interesting challenge. Half of how I manage to write okay is I have art to make up for my, like I see things visually and verbally, right? But like yeah, like friends of mine who've worked at writers' rooms, it sounds like an intense experience, especially on sitcoms. And then also that sounds really similar to a lot of my experiences working professionally, where it's like I think on sitcoms, well, depending on the one you were on, but like I hear like corporate gets like super involved. So like yeah, you're like forced to kill your darlings. So Doris was saying, still wouldn't mind getting paid for it though, and like I will say this, like you can make a living as an artist, and it's pretty awesome to make a living as an artist. And anytime I complain about working as an artist professionally, or have any sort of a sort of like negative takes or whatever about industry, and like even talking about like how art for art's sake is the best, that's the best art. But like art as a career, like illustration, graphic design, cartooning, even fine art as a career, like it's the best job ever. And whenever I have like a hard day working in creative, I have to remind myself like, oh yeah, like I'm like drawing stuff, or like I'm designing stuff. It's like fun. And that's a cool a cool hard day at work is like, oh man, I just I had to draw all day, like it's a cool day at work. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, like it's not a bad way to make a living, same with like writing sounds super fun. I'm sure it's frustrating and there's hard parts of it, but I mean, I think most people who like writing would prefer to be able to do it for a living too. And so that's cool. If you can hang and make a living at it, you 100% should. So I hope what I'm saying isn't like, oh, like art professionally sucks. Like, no, it's professional art is like the coolest career ever. Just, for artistic fulfillment and stuff, I think personal projects, even if they're professional, but they're like your artistic vision, you're gonna have a lot more fun. But make a living doing art, it's awesome. The core of storytelling is the same no matter the medium. I think you'd do fine. Oh, well, thank you. Writers' rooms are hilarious, though. And I've known a lot of comedy writers in particular. And what's interesting, and I don't know what this is, but a lot of the comedy writers I know are like super into the kind of darker stuff I do, like the fact that I wrote like a memoir about mental illness and stuff. It's kind of, I don't know. It's interesting, but I feel like comedians or comedic writers and stuff tend to get what I'm doing, and I don't know. I always found that interesting. I don't know where that's going, but I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I gotta think about that. That'd be fun. And then Brianna, oh, that's good content. Okay, storyteller is the oldest job in the world. I'm honored to carry out such an ancient tradition. Humans have literally been doing that since they came into existence. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and like honestly, storytelling is the way to go. Like, doing story is so fun. Let's see here. Doris was looks like raising her hand saying comedy writer. That's awesome. But yeah, anyhow, I thought it was also comedy writers. The only reason I'm bringing up comedy writers is like the only, like my really close friends who work in writing like are comedy writers. and I met a bunch of them, quite a few of them through like the Devastator. Like it was like this magazine back in the day, that was doing like kind of Mad Magazine type stuff, and it had a lot of comedians doing the writing too. And man, it's just like some of the funnest. Man, I am using really bad English. Some of the most fun events that I've gone to were like meetups for that magazine back in the day, because just a lot of these people are just like hilarious, off the cuff, nonstop funny. Like I've heard that a lot of comedians are not like super funny in person. Like there are some people who like do like stand-up comedy or whatever who like in person are not like always on. Like they're more like kind of taking notes, and then when they get on stage they're like on point and like it's practiced and delivered. But I will tell you, like comedy writers, like, oh man, they'll at least a lot of them will have you just like spitting up your food like you're laughing so much. Like it's yeah, that was a fun group of people. So like that made me realize like that whole world is just like, that sounds like a blast. And then I'm joined by Chris K, who also did stuff for Devastator. How's it going, Chris? What you up working on? And has the kid fallen asleep? I mean, I'm imagining she's probably sleeping a little better nowadays. Now that she's gotten a little older, but I'm sure it's still some tough nights. And then Mama Soto said, the honesty behind darker comedy on real topics is something I really connect to. It's just more cathartic. I mean, you can't laugh at life and self. Yeah, agreed. And then Chris was saying, don't play too loudly. He just got her to sleep. Yeah, I'm not planning on doing any crazy loud things. Don't worry, there won't be yells on this stream. How's it going, Chris? What are you working on, man? I noticed a couple of those posters. Everybody should check out Chris and Sketchboy01. I think, but anyhow, Chris, where can people get those cool posters that you recently did? You just did new ones. Chris does these Nouveau robot posters, and there was one that had like the plague doctor. Was that new, Chris? I mean, it looked super new to me and was really, really cool, and it's fun to see you doing those. Doris Jones, Labors of Love, said stand-up was a blast. Writing and directing, I love more. Poetry is my favorite to write. Crazy. So Doris, you used to do stand-up too. That sounds intimidating as all hell. I just can't imagine like standing in front of a room and trying to make people laugh. That sounds like hell. Chris said he just uploaded some to TeePublic, some new designs at Sketchboy01. So you guys should be following on Instagram. Also Kit and Rivet. Anyhow, go check out Chris K's stuff. He's amazing. Yeah, that was a beautiful poster, man. And those Nouveau posters that you do are just like, I don't know. It's pretty incredible. All right. Now I'm almost there. Now I just have to fill in some background characters. One thing I like is background characters tend to take less time to draw than foreground characters. Chris was saying, I could never, but you performed in front of crowds. Yeah, but like, there's such a difference between being on stage with like a guitar and some rehearsed songs that you can hide behind, you know? But just literally it just being you and your words is just super frightening and scary. Doris was saying 99% is having the courage to get on stage. Yeah, the other thing is, I think it definitely, I think it's an art form that's a lot harder than it seems. Like, I think the really good stand-ups are going to make it look like they're just kind of casually coming up there and being funny. And it's going to look almost conversational. Like, oh yeah, this is just me relaxed doing this thing. You know, we're having a nice conversation, and they're like editing down to like the funniest delivery and timing. To me, it's just like just the idea of doing that so expertly to where people feel comfortable and you're not nervous, and also you're nailing every part of the joke, like the setup, the punchline, the delivery. Like, you're doing tags to like kind of set up your premises and stuff and follow through and kind of bring it home. Like it's such like a subtle art. I don't think I could keep it up because I have a terrible memory when it comes to like memorizing stuff. Like I'm so bad at memorizing stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to do it. Chris said, I got a pal trying out stand up. Brave as hell, I say. Yeah, dude. And it requires, I think it must require bombing at some point, which sounds terrifying and horrible. But yeah, I guess like a lot of that would be just being brave enough to do it. It's true. And I'm sure that's a pretty common thing where people are like, oh man, that's so scary. You know? Or like people might just kind of make the assumption like, oh, it's just, I'm funny at work. I'd be funny on stage, But yeah, I don't know. I admire the hell out of comedians, especially comedy writers. Let's see here. Mama Soto said, music is definitely a shield, is it not? Yeah, I feel like it is. It's like, especially instruments, man. Like, I'm like not the most forward person, but like if I've got like a guitar and a band with me, I can play like some pretty like boldly political punk rock at like a biker bar and feel like, yeah, yeah, we're gonna do this, But if it were like me on stage, just alone, like with no guitar, like nothing, oh man, I'd probably just be like, "Hi, I'm leaving." There's something about the guitar that's like a mask. It's like it also, I mean, if you think about it, this might be the trick to why like guitarists tend to look really confident when they're playing. You're physically behind something, so it's like, and also in a weird way, you kind of have a weapon. Like it's like it can protect you. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird thing, but it's like there's a confidence that comes with a guitar that just I don't think I could have with just like a microphone on its own. Brianna said, that's so interesting you guys say that. I'm terrified when making music with an audience. I feel like I'm super exposed and vulnerable. Yeah, I guess it's all vulnerability, right? I mean, even comics and stuff, it's vulnerability. It's like half the game and makes it very tough. Let's see here. I'm very close to done with this page, which is pretty cool. I'm excited people showed up to my stream. Thanks everybody who's in the chats. This has been super fun. I'm not wrapping up or anything. I do believe, let me see. Yes, we are getting toward the hour mark, so I might take a very brief break for like 10 seconds in about a minute. But I'm stoked to see everybody like in here and hanging out. It always kind of blows my mind that there's an audience for this kind of stuff and a crew to like hang out and do art. So a guitar offers more shielding than a ukulele, 100%. I think if you went on stage with a uke, oh man. Although I semi-learned ukulele, and I would have to relook at the tabs for the chords because I didn't play it long enough to like memorize all of them. But if I had like a chord chart or something, I can play some songs on a uke. And man, that is a very vulnerable instrument because it's like tiny. So you have to be just like really like, yeah, I'm rocking this thing. Yeah. Doris says it is totally different for each person, each medium and venue. and varies in all kinds of ways. Yeah, that makes sense. And then Mama Soto said, I suppose the performer that's dying to get out in us is what lets loose. Yeah, that's true. Because like, I'm not opposed to dancing, but I'm not like the type of guy to like hit a dance floor and be like, yeah, we're gonna dance. I'm also not like, the type of person who like at a wedding is not going to dance because I'm just saying at a wedding because the age I'm at, that's going to be the like I'm not going to be going to clubs with like DJs very often anymore. But like if I'm at a wedding and there's a DJ and there's music, yeah, I'm going to dance and stuff, but I'm not going to dance like confidently. But if I'm playing music, I'm hopping around, I'm having fun. You just kind of, I think the nice thing about music is you can kind of get lost in it and zone out and kind of forget that there are people there. I think that's what makes it such a cathartic experience. And maybe that's similar with stand-up. You'll have to tell me. But I think there is this cool thing about when you're playing music live, you can't focus too much on what you've rehearsed, because if you do, you mess up. Or I shouldn't say you, I should say me. I will mess up if I think too much about what I've rehearsed and practiced. And then it's not as effortless too, and I can't improvise like at all if I start getting too locked into like thinking about what I'm doing. And if I think too little about what I'm doing, I'm just going to totally mess up. If I think too much about the audience, I'm going to mess up. If I think too much about no audience, I'm going to mess up. So you have to get in this like in between state where you just kind of confidently go out there and do your thing. And you kind of have to be both paying attention and not paying attention, be practiced, but also like free flowing. And I don't know, it's a cool, like, it's almost like a high, like having to be in that state. And I think that's why it's fun. Like it can be fun to do live music for like 5 people or like 50 people, Stand up is as close to owning the room as you can get, like a singer must feel. It's like being Celine in Vegas in your own little world for a bit. And then Chris was just saying, it's like jazz, man. Anyhow, I will say it's funny because like you definitely don't get that immediate hit from like doing writing or comics. Not comics like comedy, but just like comic books. It's like this weird thing that you kind of labor over, and then at most of the time you're gonna have somebody go like, that was a really cool thing, and you're like, thanks, I spent 3 years on it. It's a different kind of medium. But I guess that must be the fun. Like I can imagine with stand-up and writing, it's probably the same way, where it's like, if you're writing even TV writing, like, right, you're doing TV writing, especially if you're in a writer's room, it's like a lot of what you write might end up like, it depends well, you mentioned sitcoms, so that might actually apply, but it's like if it's a sitcom, you're like seeing what you wrote, some of what you wrote, like on air, like in a short amount of time. So it's like this immediate thing. Whereas if you're writing like a novel, then, you're like, okay, so I have like a book I can't talk about too much, but it's like, I'm already done with it, and it's gonna come out at some point, and it's already done. So like even when I'm promoting it, it'll be like 5 or 6 months after the fact, because you need this like long lead time for like the printer and for the publisher, and then you need a lead up for like promotion and stuff like that. And so it's like, it's definitely not like, with stand up where you'll like get on stage and just you're like boom, and then instant laughs and instant responses. yeah, so I can imagine that would be really, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is that that must be a fun part of stand up, you know. Stand up can suck without an audience. Definitely need 10 or more people. Yeah, that's true. I guess it would be awkward. Have you seen Marie Bamford? Well, Chris can talk about it because he likes Bamford too, but because him and I used to geek out about her. Um, but yeah, so uh, she did a stand up in front of her parents. And that was it. It was like in her parents' living room. And it is unbelievably funny. Um, and bold and awkward. It's pretty amazing. Let's see. Doris was saying, following Chris on Twitter. That's good. You should all be following Chris Caligula. He's amazing. So, and he's a good human being. So yeah, that's my endorsement. Chris, don't go out and murder anyone. I can imagine. By the way, if you guys knew Chris, you would know that's funny because it's like Chris is the sweetest dude. But I could imagine, like right after saying that on YouTube, Chris just goes and does like some terrible thing, and suddenly like I'm YouTube clipped in loops where they're like, "He's a really good guy. I back him." um. Let's see here. Let's see. Brianna said, I worked for a tiny production where writers also worked on set, so it was immediate then. But usually, when a script leaves the writer's room, your work is out of sight, and you see it with the audience. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't know what your experience was like. I had some friends who like worked in writers' rooms, and like one sentence they wrote ended up on screen, and that was it. I think a lot of the times it's like a luck of the draw thing. I don't know enough about it. I'd be curious. Um, Brianna says the showrunner, director, etc. take over. Yeah, that makes sense. And then Doris was saying, directing my own sitcom pilot was what got me to leave the stage. I found writing and directing the comedy was way more fun. That's awesome. That's really cool. Writing and directing sounds intense. Was it like a full out production? Let us know. Sounds pretty awesome. Let's see here. All right, so we've got this great stuff going on. I've got like my background going. I think I might have potentially finished this up, but we'll have to see. Mama Soto was saying, gotta hit the hay, taking dad back to San Antonio in the AM. You guys take care. Nice talking to you. Been a while, Josh. Nice to see you back here. Nice to see you too, Mama Soto. I appreciate you hopping in, and I hope Texas is treating you well, and I hope you're able to get more of your mixed media work done because it's really cool. You guys should be following Mama Soto on Twitter and on Instagram. She makes really cool stuff too. And let's see here. My ambitions, this is Brianna, don't go further than being a lead writer on something. I'd never want to direct. I love being backstage as one of the cogs in the big machine. Yeah, I could imagine like, cause I like do art direction for like a design team, and it's like there's a lot of little things you have to kind of deal with, that can be stressful, like when you're leading and managing people. But the directing sounds like headaches. I don't know. You'll have to tell us what your experience was like doing that, but it sounds like so much work, like crazy amounts of work. It also sounds cool. You can like kind of author your vision, but whew, That also sounds like a very difficult thing. Let's see here. So I am pretty excited. I am almost done with this panel. And I just want to let everybody know I really appreciate you guys stopping and hanging out in my live stream. It's been a while since I've live streamed, so it's nice to see people show up, and it's nice to see some new faces show up. So I hope you guys will return, and definitely, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit that bell to get notified whenever I'm about to do a live stream. I'll be live streaming most of the time when I'm able, when I'm working on comics, which quite often is every night or every other night. But yeah, definitely make sure you've got that notification setting going so you can be notified when I'm about to go live. And if you want, especially if you're here and you have art, definitely share it in the chat. Like share a link to where people can find your work or writing or anything. Because this is kind of a creative community, and so like it's fun, I think, for people to be able to see what everybody's working on and kind of encourage creativity and all that fun stuff. Oh man. Sorry, Doris said I did direct a short film, and that I'm definitely not doing that again for sure. Oh, cool. I'm glad. Okay. So let me see if I can kind of finish this up, get this wrapped. All right, and I think got a little bit left, few more things, but oh yeah, and I haven't mentioned this since the top, so I'll go ahead and mention it. If you haven't yet, I do a graphic novel about faith and mental illness that is hand lettered, hand inked, and you can get for like a really ridiculously low rate on Amazon. Or you can, support your local comic book shop by ordering it. It's called Two Stories, and it's 120 pages of hand lettered, hand inked artwork. That's pretty cool. And like I said, it's at this ridiculously low rate. I think it costs like $5 or something, which is barely anything on Amazon for a brand new graphic novel. And I still get the same cut for sales, so check it out. And then let me see if I can show a little bit. So, oh my goodness. There we go. So that's what I penciled sort of upside down tonight. So I'll try to do a better job at like kind of figuring out my setup here with that. But I appreciate you guys hanging out here and keeping me company while I draw and being creative. And I will see you guys on the next stream. So I hope you guys all have a good night. Bye.